Okay, guys, hello and welcome. Okay, so I know it's been a while since I did the last one. We had some wind damage in that last hurricane, and one of a really large rotten tree fell over and it knocked over, I think, 3 or 4 other really big trees. So we have now collected, oh shoot, probably 5 years worth of wood, stacked, cut, split, and put away. And what's funny is somebody brought us another load of wood, and they were pointing out more rotten trees on our land. And they said, well, the trees that we just picked up was rotten from our property as well. And they've been noticing from Winston to like my area here in like Advance, Moxville area, there's rotten trees everywhere going down the interstate. I have never paid attention until after he mentioned it. So I went walking down through our trees, and I have now counted like 30 rotten trees within like a 2-acre swath of just forest here. So we have, oh shoot, it's going to be a long process, and that's one thing that I would like to speak about, right? So understanding how to keep yourself grounded and aligned while living in the outside world. The problem that I have personally with my ADD ADHD is my ADD ADHD goes into overdrive when things like that happen. So I just like am totally consumed by stuff that if it's there, it might take a few months to finish, but my ADD like works constantly until it's all but finished. So what I'm trying to do now is find an alignment, because this is where it gets funny. About a week and a half ago, we were in the bed asleep, and I had been like pain level 7 out of a 10 every single day because of us doing so much work out there in the woods. And when you live in a pain or fear or sicknesses or depression, you live on a lower state of being, right? So when you're living in this lower state of being, entities and or spirits can then make their way into your household. And this is where I'm getting to. So what's funny is I know how to remove them. I know how to take care of them. But the thing is if you are not aligned, there's a difference between grounding and alignment. And see, I always take time and ground myself. But when I was overdoing and overextending my time, my energy, and not doing what I should be doing, I'm not aligning myself to do what needs to be done in perfect cohesion with the things around, if that makes sense. So that led to us having this little lady moving in to the house. And I wake up about, I think it was 12:30 in the morning, about a week and a half ago, and I thought it was my partner getting up to go pee. Well, I hear snoring beside of me. I roll over, I'm like, oh shit. And it looked like a real person walking through the room. So I sit up and I start looking out the door, because my bedroom's over here, right? And then the front door is here. So I'm looking, and next thing you know, we have all these motion lights through our driveway right out here. So next thing you know, when I look up, whatever it was literally walked through the house, out the front door, and through the yard for like confirmation that it was that potent. So I didn't mention it to my partner for days. Well, what's funny is every night from then on, I would get like these cold chills and the EBGBs. And so I didn't really think about it for the first few days. I was like, okay, well, I don't have time for this yet. And I told her, I said, the thing is my sleep time right now is all important to me. So if you're trying to communicate to me during this time, it's not going to happen, because I need my sleep and my rest for my body right now, because I'm just overdone. Well, that didn't stop. It actually got worse. So she started opening the doors and closing the doors, and our bedroom door goes wah, wah. The whole time, homeboy's over here snoring his life away. My dogs are barking, running around the bed. I'm hearing everything, and I'm like, God damn it, now she's moving shit too? It ain't just her walking through the house, it's her moving the doors. So I finally was like, okay, it's getting to the point now I have to start like figuring this shit out. So after it started going down, I was thought about making a podcast like within those days to explain it. And then I started channeling the energy. Well, the energy was of this, and this is where it gets a little funny. And so if you are, it's going to be a little bit of a story, but if you are connected to like seeing things, hearing things, or feeling things, and if you're like disconnect yourself and you're overwhelmed with something for a long period of time, the thing is, if you're that connected, something has to fill the void because you aren't doing it anymore, if that makes sense. So if I wasn't working and channeling and doing the stuff that I normally do, a lower neutral energy had to move in to fill that void. But if I would not have fixed it and figured out and channeled this energy and did this cleansing the way that I did, it would have led a door for like more of a demonic poltergeist entity to move into the place. And that's where I started like understanding it, like, oh shit, so this neutral, she's neutral, right? But the thing is when she's neutral, she can come into your boundaries even if you have now sealed your property. Because my property is sealed from like lower energy. She's not lower energy, she's neutral. So she had the ability to come into this house. And that's where it gets tricky. So, well, next thing you know, I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to be doing? So it took me like a couple of days to really get the feel. So I did a huge ceremony here the first night that I got that. But I was working so hard outside, I did not take the time to align myself for my highest and best. What I was doing is I was grounding myself and not aligning myself. So I wasn't taking the time to take the space for me to be the best person that I can be, because I was overextending myself, overdoing things, if that makes sense. So the first day I did this huge fucking clearing around here. I tell you, my whole damn yard looked like a smokestack. It all billowed into the neighbor's yard. My house, I had the alarm system going off and shit, and didn't change. Went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night. She was here in the kitchen playing with me, giving me the EBGBs. And I was like, God damn it, man. So this is like day 5 into this removal process. And so, well, then that day I finally took like an hour and a half to do like a true channeling of the energy to understand what I needed to do. But what I was starting to align myself to understand how to change it, but I wasn't allowing enough time for myself to align to my highest and best to be able to perform the ceremonies correctly. So that night, here we go again. I do another big ceremony. I still feel the EBGBs. And then the next day, I finally sit down and took like a whole afternoon, just relaxing, not overdoing myself. And then it all just came to me. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how it needs to be. I need to do these certain steps. And then after I got the information that I needed to get, there are certain banning rituals that I do know, and I'm going to explain these to you. And I have different documents here that I would like to go over to explain if you have something like this happens in your house, how to be able to do it properly, how to be able to remove them properly, how you need to align yourself to be able to do this right. And after you finally align yourself and do these ceremonies properly, it will start changing the atmosphere around you, okay? Now, what's funny is this. So that night, after I finally got everything figured out to understand what this was, how this was, because I did not want to get on the podcast, speak about this and then give energy to it, because I wasn't quite understanding what was going on, if that makes sense. And if I sit here in my house and speak about it, I'm giving the energy to that, if that makes sense. So if something moves into your house, do not speak it into existence. Do not speak energy into it. If you ever speak about it, you need to go outside of your property, away from where you've been feeling the energy, and stay away from it when you speak about it, because you do not want to put power into that energy. Okay, that's first and foremost. So I've been wanting to do a podcast for a week about this, but until I have my house right, the shit wasn't going down. So we are good to go. It's been 3 days now, cool as a cucumber. But what's funny, okay, so here's another thing. If people are very spiritual and they're bringing in all this positive, creative energy for the one consciousness of the self-creation of the Christos movement, the anointing of the spirit child that we are, right? Okay, well, when we are becoming these people, we are enlightening ourselves. But when we stop these practices immediately and we stop for like a long period of time, like myself, with me being so involved and doing clearings and readings for other people's homes, and then I stop everything to try to correct my property and then get back to it, and it's not easy for anybody. And because you have to realign yourself. You just can't go from one extreme to another extreme and then go back and forth. You have to understand how to blend everything. So what I got out of Dreamtime, after I figured it out, did the last clearing, I went in and into Dreamtime, and then they were explaining how a lot of poltergeist energy, it's all energy, everything's energy. So if these things come in, right? So somebody could have been a very spiritual person or very connected, and maybe they didn't know it, but they were. And the next person that moves in, if they aren't on the same wavelength as we are, say if they're like my normal neighbors around here, like my homeboy that's homophobic through the woods, and his wife that's a cuckoo bird, she would be, if they was to buy my home, move into it, a poltergeist energy would move into this space, if that makes sense, because they have not got what I have, and they don't know how to produce what I have. So with that said, a poltergeist demonic energy would have to fill the positive void, because there's a positive void here today, and to neutralize it, that's the law of hermetics. Law of hermetics is, where is the hot, where is the cold? Well, the thing is when there's so much positive energy being performed in this house, there's this other side always trying to correct it. Well, the problem is, if you just stop doing it, all there is this, and it's just going to jump in and consume, okay? So if they was to move here, that's what would happen. So that lady, or whatever it was, would move in and then call a door open for something worse and more powerful to move through the door. And that's where most people today is starting to get these, if they do have them, that could be the case. Or it could be vice versa, right? So it could have been that somebody was listening to death metal all the time, whether you like death metal or not. The problem is most that music is like, is a lower vibrational energy. So it's like if you listen to it for like a whole day, if it was me, I'd probably have to go in the bath and probably have to baptize myself. But some people like it. Myself, I prefer like upbeat, more like house trance, but it is what it is. But the thing is what you have to understand, whether you want to like it or not, and if you're listening to certain things, that low vibrational energy will attract you to it, and then you will become of that energy, if that makes sense. So if you're listening to that and living in that, you're going to become that. So you're going to become that. And so, well, let's get down to the brass tacks, right? So the first day, what I did is I did a white candle. A white candle is for clearing and cleansing. And that is my Godhead candle for my connection from me to God. I don't care what your God is. It don't matter. I think of him as a spirit. And then what I move from there on is I move from my altar. My altar's over here. And then I do my Godhead candle there. And then behind me I have the archangel and my guides and loved ones of the east. Then I have a candle over here. It is for my archangels and my guides of the south and fire with the element of fire. And then I have a candle lit over here, and that is the archangels and loved ones of the west with the element of water. Now, I do have a second candle on my altar that is my candle for Mother Gaia, Earth. And she is for the grounding unit for all these other energies. And I always keep that candle with my candle for the grounding of all the energy, if that makes sense. So what I normally would do is I would start with something with Nag Champa. And when you're doing that, Nag Champa is something that I would keep like going on the altar to start off the ceremony. And then I would light all the candles with the Nag Champa. And then after I would do that, I would take Palo Santo, and I would take the Palo Santo and light the Palo Santo in each one of my four corners, also my Godhead and Mother Gaia's candle. And then do like a clearing of that. And then after I've done like the calling in after that session, then I would start walking the perimeter of the house. You need to make sure the front door that's normally used the most, what I normally do, I have a door here, I have a sliding door on this side, and then I have a door over here. So what I normally do is I open the bedroom window, I open this door, I crack it, I open the glass door here so the screen is open, and then I open the sliding glass door fully. Normally, I just open it completely. And then I always start here, and then I work around from the east to the west back to Mother Gaia for grounding. So after I do the Palo Santo through the house with my Godhead candle, so you need to keep probably relighting it, blowing it out so smoke fills the house to neutralize the energy. And then what I did after that is I grow this in my garden during the summer, and this is mint. Mint brings in prosperity, good luck, good fortune, and it brings in good energy as well. So it will fill the lower energy that's in this household to change it and neutralize that energy into a positive outcome, if that makes sense. So what I would do is then I would take like, what are those things like the bed trays that you would eat in the bed? What I would do is I'd put a bed tray underneath that, walking around so I don't catch fire to any of my area rugs, because I have area rugs in every room of my house almost. And so I always, when I'm inside, I try to keep it on it, but lit and burning, if that makes sense. And then where there's no area rugs, I'll move it around like a sage bundle. After you're done with the house, then you move outside. What I normally do is I walk the edges of the property, and then I normally go this way in the house, and I go that way outside. I don't know why, I always do it that way. That's just how I feel. And ever since I do the shamanic work, it's like I do one and then I do another. It's like it neutralizes the energy. So the inside's twisting this way and the outside's twisting that way. So it's a cancellation of the energy from within and without, if that makes sense. The good, the bad, the in, the out. So I normally walk from the front door out and then around, and I normally do just the perimeter outside around the bushes, the patio. I douse all the patio furniture, walk around the back, and then I take another loop, and then I do that, and then I walk up the end of the driveway all the way around. Another thing that I did is I took this, and this is called Florida water. Florida water, what I do, a lot of times I'll take this and I'll X my furniture. I X all my furniture before I started today. And then I walk around and I'll just sprinkle like holy water all over everything. So I holy watered the bed, the area rugs, anywhere and everything, the corners, the closet where all the clothes were. My partner was squealing because he's like, God damn it, I'm going into work and my clothes is smelling of burnt herbs. And I'm like, well, you know what? If this shit's in here, you're going to be smelling burnt herbs tomorrow. And he was smelling it for like 4 fucking days because I was burning that shit up. For some reason, I kept thinking that it was like stagnant in the closet or upstairs. It's like I kept feeling the energy move back and forth. except for in the night. And then in the night, I would fill it in the kitchen. So when I do the clearing, I would always work back, and I always did the closets really well. And then I'd work upstairs in the loft, and then I would do the loft really well. Because you have to think too, a lot of times if your house is cluttered, dirty, and I'm not calling anybody out, it just is what it is. If your house is a mess, that can cause spirits to move into your house. So it's always good during each seasonal change, during the fall, the spring, the winter, and the summer, do a deep cleaning of the house. I'm talking clean under the refrigerator, clean under the stove, clean under the couch, clean the blinds, wipe the shit down. I do this probably more than that, but the thing is if there's constant energy flowing, if there's anything stagnant within your home, that will shift the energy out. And like this time of the year here in North Carolina, it's pretty chilly today. I think it's reading 62 over there. And normally we have the windows open, and during this time of the year I do the windows and everything, and I start trying to clean up before I do the Christmas stuff or the Saturnalia and everything like that. So also, the very last day before I did the real big clearing, because I was like, I'm fucking sick of this shit, and I was like on point, because I finally have taken days to really get myself together, to get my energy back, know how and what I'm dealing with, what I need to do, what the hell's going on in this house. And the bitch ain't staying here no longer, because the bitch ain't welcome. Neutral, not neutral, I don't care, because you can let in somebody else, and this bitch don't need it. So you got to get the hell out. And that's what was going on the very last day that I did it. So my last ditch effort, and this is for someone that has problems like this, and if you have done these things, frankincense is another good one to, if you like burn Nag Champa, that opens and clears, and frankincense is a blessing. So it blesses the space, sort of like mint. It's all but the same thing in a way. But I use frankincense, mint, Nag Champa, Palo Santo, Florida water. I have all my land survey deeds. I had all my signatures of my land, my land that I own, the house. Because in the physical world, they are living within this physical world. So this is what you have to understand, right? They can come here in spirit form, but they are evolving and revolving in our material world. So when you have physical forms, and I thought maybe because the trees that were rotten was removing some, maybe that caused the spirit to amp up too. So I made sure and I pulled out the tree lines for the property, and everything has to have signatures. So you have to make sure that you have your initials and stuff on your things, and then you have to have all the agreements that you've ever made with people. If you have like right-of-ways or liens or other things, you need to have all your ducks in a row when you start this, because when you open the portal, you have to walk the property with the mint, speaking what you want, showing the physical validation that it doesn't matter what they want anymore. This is yours in physical form. And it's time to either neutralize the energy or move on. And that was the last thing that I did. And after I did the walking of the land with the mint and the property records, all my property records with my signature, telling this what needs to be done, who I am, why I had to do this down in the trees. This was not my wanting to do. I'm not wanting to remove trees. It just the shit. I don't know what the hell's going on down there. Something's changing in the world. So what's funny is I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, "Do you know what I'm picking up is this?" And this is after I did the clearing and everything was starting to simmer down. He said, "I feel like what happened was this. I have been so distracted, not doing my normal readings and stuff like that for other people for about a month and a half, and the only way your guides could get your attention is to bring something in that's not welcome. And he said that it wasn't a bad one, but if I did not notice it, but my guides knew that I would see it, knew that I would feel it, knew that I would not take shit by it, so I would get back on the correct track. So you have to understand that this is all, in essence, to get me back to where I need to be, to realign myself, to get myself back on track. So my guides actually allowed this little spirit that was neutral to come into my home. Now, the thing is most people probably would not recognize it, but see, I see shit, I hear shit, I feel shit, I know it all. Well, not know it all, but when you hear, you know it. If there's a spirit in this house, they know it. And we don't have many. I have two that's normally just outside, Franklin and Sandra. Sandra, she shows up in a white gown. Franklin, he's one of the old owners of the property, and he just smokes cigars, and they don't bother me. I'll catch cigar smoke sometimes, and I've talked to him a couple times, but that's about it. And I've met two ladies down at the pond when I'm like singing with my earpods in, walking the dogs, but never something that gave me the EBGBs. And that's when I was like, this shit ain't happening. And I was like, I call in my guides. Well, you know what? I was calling in my guides. My guides didn't sit that bitch over here because they want me to get back on track. So it wasn't them. They wasn't trying to help me. I mean, they were trying to help me, but they wasn't going to be able to help me because she was neutral, if you don't get what I mean. So you have to understand. You're like, I call in my guides. Well, if you calling in your guides, but your guides brought this bitch up in here, they can't help you. They brought the bitch here. They lowered your boundaries to allow you to see shit, to be able to grow in essence of consciousness. And that's where we have to start understanding it. We cannot allow ourselves to get too distracted anymore, because there is the dying off process and the regrowthing process right now. And while we are starting to find that, like, Kundalini, the Christos, the anointing of the Spirit God, when we get into that space and we just stop, there has to be something that fills the void, and that's just hermetics. So if we are over here like balls to the wall doing shit in a spiritual way, like I normally am, I'm always working in spiritual warfare. If it ain't me helping somebody, it's me going clearing people's houses. If it ain't that, I'm astral traveling with other people like myself, trying to clear other people outside of people that think that we can't do, but we do. And it's just, you have a group and you can astral travel, so you can be able to like help places that need help. And that's another group that I'm part of. So when you're over here and you stop everything because you're so consumed by your daily life, and when you start noticing that, what I have noticed is this: when you're so consumed by your daily life on like a normal basis, time is like, you have no time. The time is gone. From the morning to the evening to the whole entire day for a month. I don't know where this month has gone. Serious. The month has flown by. I have got nothing accomplished but wood. Oh, no, one other thing. I did, we got that deep frost a few weeks early, so I had to rip out all my flower beds and then redo all my flower beds. And then that put me another day behind from doing that shit. And that's when I started understanding the alignment is where it's at. And I got to find a way to start doing it, but I have to do it in pieces. So if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed and there's too many things going on in your life, you need to cut at least one thing back. Cut it back to half, so it gives you more time to find the alignment. Not just grounding, because grounding is great too. But if you aren't aligning yourself to live in the spirit essence of the Christos, the anointing of, we cannot grow the people around us either, because as we grow, the people around us grow. So whether they want to grow or not, they grow with us because they are connected to us, through us, and connected with us. So with that said, your loved ones are growing as we are growing. And when I first started this, my family did not understand what I did. They didn't understand how I work, and they did not like it, because when you see aliens pop into your house and you like tell them that, they are freaked the fuck out. And you know, there ain't much you can say about it. It is what it is. And they're like, well, you need to quit doing what you're doing. Well, the problem is, it's been turned on since I got ran over. Because after I got ran over is when I started seeing shit. And now it just like propelled out of, now it's just bananas. It's just crazy. And when you see things the way that I see things, and then you stop, that's where we have to understand. So you have to make sure, if you move into a home and you don't know the frame of mind of the past owner that you're moving into that house, you need, whether you rent the place, own the place, have a lease agreement with the place, you need to Xerox all your paperwork and do a clearing with all the agreements, with all your signatures, and walk the property. And you need to do the clearing with that intent, with the physical, the physical form showing that you are this right now currently, and there is nothing that the spirit world can do about it. You put your limitations up. That is your boundaries. And if they cannot accept those boundaries, those spirits will have to dissipate, neutralize, and or go. So these are nice things for me to sit down and explain today, because I have been dealing with some crazy fucking shit around here, and it seems like if it wasn't one thing, it was another. And now what I'm doing, it's like I finally have started like aligning myself, and now it's like I have more time than I know what to do with. Yesterday, so I was trying to do the podcast yesterday because everything's been good for a few days. Well, I started to do it, and you know I'm not good with technology, so I started looking, and then my phone wouldn't even take a photo because my memory was so. I had to airdrop all my stuff to the Mac, and that took like 4 hours, and I swear the 4 hours took forever compared to like last week when the whole entire day was gone. If you get what I mean, I didn't even have to, it felt like I didn't even have time to take a shit. But yesterday it was like 4 hours was like an eternity, which to me that was nice, to be honest, because this month has gone by so quickly. But yesterday and today has gone by since I have like re-grounded and aligned myself. The days are back to smooth sailing. I'm waking up early. I like waking up early. Don't know why. I'm normally up by 6:30. If I sleep later than that, it's because I've overdone my body. And sometimes I'm up earlier than that. As soon as the sun's up, I'm up. And so I think that will probably be the end of this one, but if y'all have any questions about the steps, I hope if you do, you can put them in the comments, right? Or you can rewatch the video and write down these steps of how you need to do it. Just set up the altar, and you need to have your Godhead candle, which is the white candle. Mother Gaia is the other candle you need to have on your altar. And then you need to figure out north, south, east, and west. North is where Mother Gaia and your Godhead needs to be. And then east is water. No, east is wind. South is fire. Sorry, I was thinking backwards because I'm over here doing this backwards. I was thinking that was east, but that's west. And then west is water. Whew. And then you go back up to the top. So you start here. That's air, fire, water, Mother Earth with your Godhead candle. And then you start the clearing inside, work around back to your Godhead candle. Make sure you do your house. I doused the house with Florida water. And then I did frankincense and dragon's blood. I left Nag Champa on top of my altar burning the entire time. And then I would go outside. Then I started with mint. And then I worked another loop with mint around the property after I did the Palo Santo. And then I went outside with the mint and went the opposite direction around. And I know some people might say that I do that wrong. But the thing is, when you're doing this way inside, that neutralizes the energy, so it impels up forward and then propels out, is what I've always picked up when I do it that way. So there's more bang for your buck, because it's like a spiral and another spiral, so the energy's like, okay, I'm just going to leave it there. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. I'm going to keep on rolling. I don't know what I'm going to do today, because I'm trying to like cut everything down a little bit, like my workload. I could go down in the bottom for a few minutes, but I don't want to overdo myself, because I want to try to get on here. My goal is to start cutting my workload in half, and then I can at least get on here 2 to 3 times a week again, because I'm literally killing myself out there. And if it ain't me killing myself doing one thing, it's me killing myself doing another. And to be honest, the yard don't look no different, much less, except for me changing the flowers out, than it did a month ago. And nobody would know. Nobody would know what I've done. Not a single person. Only me. I don't even think my partner's been down in the forest to see what the hell's going on. But shit happens. Okay, talk to you guys later. Have a great afternoon. Bye.